My name is Nicki Casper. I'm originally from Grants Pass, Oregon. I now live in Hood River, Oregon, and I got my first tattoo when I was 18. I'm 39 now. And you started tattooing me when you were 3 years in, so what is that, 15 years?
Yeah. Yeah, 15 years ago. Man, I'm getting old. So what kind of tattoos did you get at first?
Stupid ones when I was younger. My one that you did first was a butterfly with tribal around it. It was awesome.
That's my specialty, actually. I specialize in tribal surrounding butterflies.
Yep, that was great. And then we did flowers on my lower back with tribal around it.
Yeah, 'cause that's what you put around tattoos, is
Yeah.
tribal.
That was the thing. And then I got that removed so that we could do a full back piece.
So what changed? At that point, something must have changed at some point to where you go from getting a little tattoo like on your foot or on your back to sleeves or your front or your back or what?
Yeah, I think your confidence level changes and you kind of figure out who you are, and you stop being afraid of what people think, which is a slow progress. I remember wanting a sleeve and being unsure of it and talking to you about it. I remember asking you, I told you, I think I want a sleeve, but I don't know if I could pull it off. And you were like, what do you mean pull it off? And in my head, I was afraid that I would look like some of the women that I had seen with lots of tattoos on their arms that just wasn't flattering. And I didn't want that. And I didn't know really how to articulate it. I was a young client and didn't know enough about tattoos, and you explained that I would never look like that, and that it's about getting timeless tattoos, really, and it made me feel more comfortable with it. And then we started my sleeve. I was already 30 though. I waited. I didn't have visible tattoos until I was 30.
So from 18 to 30, they were in concealable spots.
Yeah, I only had one on my foot and then the one on my lower back, and then I had the very first tattoo I ever got was a stupid little sun on my stomach. What's funny about that is that it was like some ridiculous street shop in Medford, and the guy was just gross, the shop was gross, and I didn't know what I wanted. It was like total spur of the moment thing with a friend, and so we picked some flash, and I was only 18 and I didn't know what I was doing, and I thought this guy was creepy and he wanted to put it in a different spot, and I just thought he was being creepy, and I didn't want to like expose too much of my skin to this weirdo, so it ended up being in this very strange place on my stomach because I was afraid of this guy, and I ended up getting that removed. So I only had the two before we started my sleeve.
And now you're covered.
Now I'm covered.
How much of your body's covered now?
I mean, pretty much all my body except my face and my neck and the bottom of my feet. It's crazy, right?
Yeah. Your whole body.
My whole body.
What kind of things have been said to you by people either that are in favor of it or that are opposed to it? I mean, people are opinionated.
Yeah. Mostly it's positive. Mostly, I've been trying to share it in a very deliberate way, and making a point with it, and a point that people can apply to other aspects of their life, not just to tattoos. But I think because of the way I'm sharing it, people understand it in a different way, and mostly it's super positive response, and people are inspired by it. But there's also some comments that are rude. Like, sometimes people think that a heavily tattooed woman is just super promiscuous, which I'm not really sure why. But there's some of that, and then there's judgment, like that I would never get a job and funny stuff like that. Or a lot of times people, when they are being rude, they like want to make fun. They'll basically make a joke about how gross I'm gonna be when I'm old, which is just funny to me. Because I think I'm gonna be awesome when I'm old.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, our skin ages anyway, so I could have wrinkly skin that's non-tattooed, or I could have awesome wrinkly tattoo. I'd rather have a wrinkly tattoo.
Me too. I've never liked, or I've never got a part of me tattooed and then liked that spot less.
Yeah.
I always like it more.
Me too. And what's interesting is, as the years have gone by, I was always afraid that there would come a point that I would lose my femininity in it. And I was working in the tattoo industry for a publication, and I was very in it, and learned a lot about the culture and, just kind of the rules of the trade and things like that. And as I went along, like, I got my first sleeve and I loved it, and then I wanted my other sleeve, and I felt like there was a big jump between two sleeves and my chest, and it was a huge leap because that was kind of hardcore, and I didn't know if that was going to be too hardcore, because it's never been my goal to look like a hardcore badass, and it's never been my objective with getting tattooed has never been to be cool or look cool or tough or anything like that. I never wanted to look tough. And then as I went along, it's almost like I was surprised, like, oh, I still look like a girl. It's cool, and I thought initially when I first got my hands tattooed, I thought I fucked up. Like, it wasn't, I didn't have all of it done. I just had the sides, and I got them both done at a show. And I remember washing my face that night, and I couldn't stop looking at my hands in the mirror going, oh my God, what did I do?
Yeah.
But even that, it just took me a minute to kind of get used to it. And now, like, now I don't fear it as much. Obviously, I'm covered, but it's definitely a leap each time you go for more coverage.
Yeah.
Especially as a woman.
Was there a point for you where it stopped being the different body parts and it was just your whole self, or is it always parts of you getting tattooed, or?
No. And that's the thing that people don't understand is I'm always asked, every time I let my followers know that I'm getting tattooed, I'm always asked multiple times, what are you working on? And I never know until I show up and we decide. And to me, it doesn't matter because it is all one piece. But I started like that. Like, I wanted my sleeves to make sense and be cohesive. And then when we did my chest, I wanted it all to look as one. And I probably didn't know that that's what I wanted. I wouldn't have known that that was even a thing. I just knew, I don't know how I even articulated that, and I think we've always just been on the same page with it, but I didn't want super different subject matters, and I didn't want many different tattoos. I just wanted it all to look like it was one. And then we just kept, that one tattoo just kept getting bigger, I guess.
Yeah.
But when I started, I would have never thought that I would have a bodysuit, because I was worried about if I could pull off a sleeve, you know? And then you just kind of grow up and you realize that ultimately it doesn't matter if other people like it or not.
Right.
It matters what you want. And I feel grateful to be in that place in my life that I can just be, you know, who I am and not worry about that stuff.
Did that realization just slowly surface, I would imagine?
Yeah.
Throughout the process?
Yeah, definitely. And I think you figure it out when, with me, my tattoos, it's interesting. Even like older people, I get really positive responses from. Most often, they think at first that I'm wearing some kind of pretty leggings, and then, or I've even gotten, "Ooh, I love your blouse," from like older women, and I always just say thanks. I don't tell them, but they figure it out, and then they ask a bunch of questions, but there isn't judgment in it as much as I feel like there used to be. Sometimes there is, but I just pretend I don't notice, you know, and I don't let it bother me. And there was a time that I was sensitive to that stuff, and it would hurt my feelings. But there was this picture of my chest that was circulating. I think it was the last session we did on it, and it was circulating. Oh my God, I think it's still circulating. And somebody would always mention me on Facebook so that I would see it, and I would make the mistake of reading the comments, and it would just piss me off and upset me, because the older people wanted to talk about how stupid I was because I would never get a job, which I was already a business owner before I started getting visible tattoos, so they don't even know what they're talking about. And the men were crude and sexual, and the women all wanted to call me a whore, yet none of them knew a single thing about me. And I used to let that get to me, and now I understand where it comes from, and it's not about me, it's just their own shit being projected onto me, and I don't let it get to me. But
yeah, I don't read comments on my stuff, because same thing, I'm too sensitive and I take it too personally.
Yeah. Well, and I learned too when I was working for the magazine and doing the social media for them, you almost have to police it, not because it bothers you so much, but like one negative comment, it's like everyone's watching and waiting, and then it brings out, it's like a floodgate of people just waiting to be internet dicks, you know?
Yeah.
And then suddenly your post that you were trying to make a point with in a positive way becomes about somebody saying you're fat, or somebody calling you a whore, or whatever, and then everybody jumping on the bandwagon. So I do try to police it in that way so it doesn't turn into something weird.
Yeah. Well, everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, especially we who decide to share on purpose and share a post or anything. I mean, the minute you put yourself on display is when you're subjecting yourself to someone else's opinion of you.
Right.
Which, I mean, I guess they are entitled to their opinion. Just gotta have some thick skin.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that. Like the interesting thing for me is that there's no way I could ever not look like a woman. I definitely look like a woman. I'm not built like a, young boy. And so there's no way that I can share this journey without showing my body. But I make a point to make sure that I do it in a way that is respectable and not misconstrued as, I don't know, like attention seeking in a sexual way.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that like people are going to make it about that anyway. And there's nothing I can do about that. All I can do is say what I'm trying to say, and all I have control of is my reaction to it,
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
You've told me everything's a reflection, so if that's all they see, they're just reflecting what's coming out of them, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
We're almost done with this spot, so I think we're gonna have to
readjust our position.
Yeah, we gotta reposition this.